Okay, so I'm here at Red Bull Golden Letters 2024. I'm here with Kane. He's one of the competitors here today. Um, just to ask him a few questions about Red Bull Golden Letters, the UKFGC, and Tekken 8 as a whole. So first off, how do you feel about the opportunity that Red Bull Golden Letters gives its players?
So I think Red Bull Golden Letters is a very exciting event to be a part of because it's very unique. It gives a lot of players to come out and showcase how unique their character and playstyle is, especially with the added rule set of the Golden Letters because I feel like Tekken 8 is very notorious with its system for allowing Golden Letters to be even more possible than before. And there are characters in this game that can be quite devastating as well. So it's a very, very unique opportunity, and I'm personally glad to be here for the third one in a row, the very first one for Tekken 8 as well.
Yeah, so do you have any predictions for event like are we going to see someone absolutely dominate? Is there going to be someone that's come over from a different country who you're looking forward to seeing play?
I mean, based on what's been happening in recent months for the game, I definitely think the easy answer would be that Ulsan will probably dominate everyone with that Dragonov of his. He's been consistent throughout the entire year. I think he's untouchable right now. So my initial prediction is definitely that he would be taking this tournament, but of course, I'm going to try my best to do it as well. I know my character, Yoshimitsu, is very effective with this particular system since he has health manipulation, and that means all the difference between getting golden letters or not. But I think anybody can do some damage, especially with this format. Like, it's not just your typical first to three matchup, because you can win it right away if you get enough golden letters. So we'll see.
So it's very unique. It's like it's not just going to be one or two players just absolutely dominating the field. There's going to be a chance for everyone to prove themselves.
Yeah, you can get interrupted just by getting golden lettered enough, and then, oh, the match is over before you knew it. So
So moving on the fact. So Tekken 8, it's still very young in its life cycle. It's only been out for about a year now. How's the game looking in terms of like the health of the scene?
so when the game initially came out, it was very, I guess the appropriate word would be volatile because the balancing was very up in the air. There were a lot of characters that were extremely dominant or, as you could say, overpowered. But as patches have been landing, the balancing has been improving bit by bit, but there are still areas where I think certain characters dominate with this system way more than others. And us, the players, know that in a few days a new balance patch will be dropping, which they're hoping to further address these issues because there are still very much like instances where, say, Dragonov, for example, is dominating everybody else. So the idea is to hope that the game becomes healthier as the year ends, because we're basically hoping for Season 2 at this point to fix a lot of the problems that the game initially introduced, because after all, this is the first Tekken game where there's been no arcade release, and usually those releases are intended to hammer out all the big bugs, the big balancing problems, but of course, this is straight away on console. So this is the opening year, and hopefully it will improve by the end.
So just while there are characters are dominating, it is hopefully trying to level out the field a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's in terms of the game, but how do you feel the community is right now, just in the UK in general?
So I think the UK community, I think they're taking it in stride. I think there are certain players who have their reservations, especially when it comes to their particular characters. Like some would probably refuse to compete until they see such improvement. But I think a lot of the known UK Tekken players like myself, Aorichi, Joker, who are also at this event, by the way, um, they they're just like adapting to the game. Like they're well aware of how crazy this game is compared to previous ones in the series, but we just absorb all the information, we carry on. So I think the community is in an okay place, but I would be naive to think that everyone is like viewing this game in an overly positive light right now. I think the best way to describe it would be mixed, I would say, definitely.
Yeah. So community's there, they're rallying support for the game still, but it's kind of like, oh, I don't know how I'm
Yeah,
doing right now.
they're very much supportive of the game. It's just they do want to see things improve, which, as I said before, hopefully they come in time.
So again, you spoke about future patches, but is there any characters you'd want to see added to the game, maybe from old Tekken games or guest characters like we've seen very recently in other games like there's been a lot of cross promotion with characters from other fighting games going into others. Is there anything like that you'd like to see?
So in terms of Tekken characters, I definitely want to see a lot of the usual popular legacy ones coming back, like say Anna Williams, even though I hate that character particularly. Julia Chang, Armor King. There's a lot of legacy characters that are missing from the game currently. A personal favorite of mine is Miguel. I definitely want to see Miguel come back because he was my secondary character alongside Yoshimitsu when I started playing competitively in Tekken Tag 2. So that's my number one pick. In terms of guest characters, there are two which I think are likely candidates. One I definitely want to see is Kazuma Kiryu from the Like a Dragon series. He's been the number one requested guest for a very long time, but I know the process is a bit complicated regarding guests, especially where Kiryu's involved because of the views of the developer toward that character as well. The other very obvious and likely one is Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII because, first of all, she's one of the most iconic female characters in gaming in general, and because she's a monk, so like a character that fights with hands and feet, like it makes the most sense for Tekken's environment because it's a fighting game. And I have a feeling that she would be very, very popular in the community, whether they know Tekken well or not.
And then just the last one here. So how do you feel that not just like UK Tekken, but the fighting game community in general for the UK, how do you think they stack up compared to the rest of the world?
I like to think that the UK fighting game community is very much active, very much passionate. I mean, there's so many fighting games that had their recent installments come out, like Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and among others as well. And UK has been doing well for itself, not just like in Tekken, but other fighting games as well. I mean, we've had very like strong players in Street Fighter, for example, like Ending Walker, Problem X doing their bit. So I think the UK fighting game community is very much alive right now, and you know, there's always going to be discourse regarding how a new game is compared to its counterpart. But the key thing is that we all come together, and yeah, I think in terms of the fighting game like noise we make, we're probably one of the more quieter communities. Like, you know, when you go to events, you have audiences that like make a lot of noise. I definitely think UK is like more quiet on that end, but they usually make noise where it counts. So it's not like always an every man for himself kind of deal. But I definitely think there are other scenes in the world that probably are a lot more noisy and supportive. But all I'm saying is don't count UK out. We make it count where we need to.
Right, that's Kane there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.